Today, as a freelance designer, there are a variety of ways you can work. You can be solo freelance and manage your own clients, or you can be freelance through design recruitment agencies and work on location. Now, these are two very different ways of working as a freelance designer. However, being a freelancer, you have the freedom and flexibility to undertake either of these options or even both. Now, with all the perks of living and working as a design recruitment agency freelancer, there are still some negatives. I myself have been a design recruitment agency freelancer for the past 6 years and experienced a lot of good with the bad. So if you're interested in becoming freelance, want to know more about design recruitment agency freelance, then check out this video. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing 10 negatives to design recruitment agency freelance. Now, design recruitment agency is a bit of a mouthful, so for the rest of this video, I'm going to be referring to design recruitment agency as DRA. So the first and probably one of the biggest negatives about being DRA freelance is 1. Anxiety about work. Now, a common worry amongst designers considering going DRA freelance is the frequency of work and quality of work. Now, I think this is one of the biggest reasons that discourage would-be DRA freelancer, the fear of the unknown. Will the work come in? Will I get good opportunities? And will I earn enough to pay rent and bills? With DRA freelance, work is not guaranteed, and there is a risk it may not come in and the phone won't ring. And if that's the case, when a job does come in, it is tempting to just take it, even if it's not the sort of work you want to do. This is a constant worry when starting out as a DRA freelancer. Now, another negative about being DRA freelancer is 2. The DRA won't always pitch what you want. Now, an agent's job at a DRA is to get designers on contracts, as this is one of the main sources of income for them to earn commission. Now, this can be great for a freelancer, but sometimes an agent at the DRA can be vague about a contract, or won't disclose the details to get the freelancer to accept. Granted, an agent won't always know the exact details of a contract, as sometimes a studio can call in quick to ask for a freelance designer, or it's a secret project, so they can't disclose the full details. In my experience, even when you tell an agent exactly what you're looking for, they will still pitch to you work that you may not want to do, or they are vague about the details. Early in my experience, I found myself on contracts doing uninspiring work and not really having much to show for it. So another negative about being DRA freelancer is 3. Social barrier. Now, if a design studio regularly takes on freelancers, there may be a high turnover. In this instance, the full-time staff or even the other freelancers are sometimes reluctant to socialize with the new freelancer, as they will know they will be gone soon. I have experienced this on occasions at agencies with high turnover. Often, I have been seen as just another freelancer and treated as such. This is not always the case, but can happen. Now, this can be good for some people, but if you like banter, jokes, and chatting with other people in the work environment, be prepared to have to make a lot of effort to break through the social barrier. So another negative about being DRA freelance is 4. Pressure to get the job done fast. Now, this is one of the biggest negatives that can be tough for designers. Contracts can often be short, sometimes days or weeks, and a studio paying a day rate will expect results within the time frame, which can be short. A freelancer will be expected to produce high quality results fast and often with variations. This can put a lot of pressure on a freelancer, which can cause anxiety. So another negative about being DRA freelance is 5. Don't always get creative control. So once a freelancer accepts a contract and arrives at the studio, it's up to the freelancer to work with the client within the parameters of the company, the team, and the brief to carry out the creative task until it's complete and the contract is over. If the freelancer accepts a contract with a design agency, then typically there will be senior staff running the project. The freelancer will be required to work within the current structure of the company and take direction from senior members of the creative team, project management, or even the client. It's not always the case a freelancer will get to work to a process they prefer or have final say on their design. In my experience, this has been a mixed bag, and it all depends on who you find yourself working with. Sometimes I have been left alone to execute my own process, and others I have had to work to someone else's direction and change work to their design and personal tastes. Now, this can be tough if you don't like taking direction. Now, unless you are very senior, it will be rare to get any authority on your own design. So another negative about being DRA freelance is 6, just a pair of hands. Now, as mentioned earlier, when starting out, a DRA freelancer will be tempted to take anything that comes in to ensure they can make money. Now, it's common for junior to middleweight freelancers to enter into projects in the middle or towards the end, at which point all the interesting design and ideas process is done. In this instance, freelancers can feel like just a pair of hands, where they are carrying out the design of someone else, doing the dirty work or picking up someone else's slack. Now, this can happen frequently for less experienced freelancers, which brings me on to the next point, which can be disheartening for some designers. 7, artworking instead of designing. Now, this is not meant to be an insult to professional art workers, but as designers, we all want to design, create exciting work and take ownership of our own work. As mentioned in the previous point, sometimes a freelancer can find themselves on a contract where they are given heavy direction from senior staff, clients, or have to pick up someone else's slack. In this instance, a freelancer may find themselves artworking others' work or direction instead of their own design. In the DRA freelance game, experience and the portfolio is currency, so this can result in frustration not having much to show for your time. As much as it can be okay to get that day rate and get paid a lot, it's really important to the designer that they get some good work they can get in their portfolio to get better creative opportunities in the future. This is a trade-off the DRA freelancer will have to contend with as a more junior DRA freelancer. So another negative about being DRA freelancer is 8, constant portfolio and CV updates. Now, as I just mentioned, the portfolio and experience is currency in the DRA freelance game. It's these two things alone that will get you the next job and a better job. One thing a DRA freelancer will find themselves doing is constantly updating their CV and portfolio as they create more work. Now, this can be a good thing, of course, because you will always be adding to your portfolio and improving. However, this becomes a huge burden and a chore, as it will require lots of time to get it perfect. Prepare all your perfect mock-ups and in-situ pieces, and you will have pressure to do it fast in order to apply for that next job. So the portfolio can become an endless project, which you will find yourself having to do in your spare time, which can take up a lot of time. So another negative about being DRA freelance is 9, it's competitive. Now, this video is about some of the negatives to DRA freelance. However, there are a lot of positives which in my opinion outweigh the negatives. And for this reason, a lot of designers strive to be a DRA freelancer. This means it can be competitive. Chances are a DRA will have lots of designers on their books with a whole range of skills and experience, which means when a freelancer is offered a contract, it will be offered to others too. Now, it's common for several portfolios to be submitted to a client. In my experience, I have been turned down from quite a few contracts because the client has gone with someone else more experienced. So DRA freelance can be very competitive. So the last negative about being DRA freelance is 10. It's hard to progress to senior roles. Now, as great as the experience is with DRA freelance, it can reach a limit after a few years and can prove difficult moving to senior roles like lead designer or creative director, if that is something you want to achieve. Now, freelancers in the design industry are mainly seen as resource, and there is a high chance a contract will be with a design studio, which will require you to work in an already established team with senior members. So if you desire to climb the ladder and get into the bigger senior roles, it can be difficult and the opportunities few and far between. So to recap, the 10 negatives to DRA freelance are 1. anxiety about work. 2, the DRA won't always pitch what you want. 3, social barriers. 4, don't always get creative control. 5, pressure to get the job done fast. 6, just a pair of hands. 7, art working instead of designing. 8, constant portfolio and CV updates. 9, it's competitive. And 10, hard to progress to senior roles. So those were 10 negatives to working as a DRA freelancer. Now, if you have any questions regarding design agency freelance, be sure to pop them in the comment section below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Now, if you're considering getting into DRA freelance, some of those points may put you off, but I would argue the positives seriously outweigh the negatives. Now, I have been a DRA freelancer for over 6 years now, and it has completely changed my career for the better. Now, over the next 2 videos, I'm going to talk a little about my personal experience, how I got into DRA freelance, why I went DRA freelance, why I stayed DRA freelance, and why I would recommend it to you. So, in the next video, I'm going to begin with why I chose to go design recruitment agency freelance. So see you in the next video.